Nickie and I have been researching and reflecting on the effects of music on our bodies and souls. There is compelling evidence that music is of significance for both physical and spiritual well-being. In his book, Musicophilia, Tales of Music and the Brain, the late Dr. Oliver Sacks makes it clear that music affects the brain. Both Dr. Sacks and Dr. Connie Tomeno founded the Institute for Music and Neurologic Function in 1995, and they make the case that nothing activates the brain so extensively as music. Several other persons of note agree. Notice the words of Albert Einstein quoted on the cover of today's order of service.
We were particularly impressed with a unique musician whose name is Mr. Andrew Schulman. A classical guitarist by trade, he underwent surgery at Mount Sinai Beth Israel Hospital in New York City. After a time of recovering in the surgical ICU himself, he offered to volunteer to play his guitar for other patients in the surgical ICU. After hospital doctors and the hospital itself mulled this idea over, they offered him a trial period. In any surgical ICU, there are plenty of machines, beeping at different times, and other monitors making what we would collectively call noise. Over time, as Mr. Schulman volunteered, he learned to watch and listen to the monitors that are attached to the patients. If they registered a heart rate to be very slow or very fast, he would adjust the beat and type of his selections to stimulate and influence the improvements in the patient's status. Soothing slow music resulted in lowering blood pressure and high heart rates where that was appropriate. More stimulating music was encouraged, which would encourage stronger heart rates and blood pressure when needed. Then he would play something with a faster beat or a little upbeat sound.
Mr. Schulman sought and received many consultations with music therapists as he progressed. His efforts became of obvious benefit to the patients and the staff. He started calling himself a medical musician. That title became the best way to describe his volunteer efforts, which were appreciated and heralded by the patients, the doctors, the staff, and by the families of the patients. And so the hospital agreed to let Mr. Schulman increase his volunteer days to 3 days per week. The relationship of music and medicine goes all the way back to antiquity, but the modern profession of music therapy in this country didn't formally begin until after World War I and World War II, when amateur and professional musicians alike went into VA hospitals to play for the thousands of suffering war veterans. The remarkable physical and emotional responses of these patients to the music led doctors and nurses to request the hiring of these musicians by the hospitals. As it became evident that the musicians needed more training before entering these hospitals, however, the demand for a college curriculum grew, and by 1944, the first academic program in music therapy was established.
There's a term in music therapy, it's related to physics, so some of you, I wouldn't understand this, but some of us do. There's a term called entrainment, And it's a term from physics that explains that two objects moving together use less energy than two objects moving in opposite directions. So if they're placed next to each other, they will eventually begin to move together in synchronicity. Our internal rhythms, such as heart rate and respiration, they speed up and slow down to match a stronger external rhythm. The incessant pulsing of machines and televisions and talking in an ICU tend to push a patient's vital signs higher than normal. In that environment, that's what happens. This helps a musician select the appropriate music. However, not just anyone can claim their music is medically helpful. It's not about someone who can play. It's about someone who knows how to play with expression and what to play.
So we can all relate, right? If we're working out, maybe we do better with the right pace or beat of the music. Or if we're feeling tired or weary, sentimental, maybe we choose something a little more soothing, or maybe even uplifting to help us. Research studies show that music is strongly associated with the brain's reward system. While pleasurable music can send shivers down our spines, some music can make us cry, sing for joy, or want to get up and dance, just like Joanne said to the kids. It's true. I am transported to another world when I hear the haunting resonance of Jordi Savall on his viola da gamba, or soothed by the sweet harmonies of Simon and Garfunkel, or brought to tears by the songs of Joni Mitchell, energized by Santana's guitar. These are just a few of the musical greats that have touched me. So many pieces of music have that power to just take us on a ride, from sadness to sweetness to excitement. In Mr. Schulman's experience, it turns out that most of his patients preferred the following music. In the classical arena, Bach and Beethoven were most effective, while in the non-classical arena, his patients responded best to Gershwin, Berlin, the Beatles, and many pieces from what is referred to as the Great American Songbook. These were the pieces that had the greatest power to connect with his patients.
The first organized public event after September 11, 2001, was a musical one in New York City. The scheduled music was changed to reflect what had transpired. First, the national anthem, which, to my liking, anyone may take a knee in my book, and ending with Brahms' Requiem. It was the first of many national musical tributes to help find solace, promote strength, and secure solidarity. Take a moment to think of all the different types of music: chant, Baroque, classical, gospel, jazz, folk, pop, reggae, dance, Hawaiian, Latino, African, hip-hop, too many to name. Music is an emotional experience that generates feelings of joy, love, and compassion. Music is a physical experience. It has the power to reboot us. Music, its power is now revealed as one of the next best things in medicine. Our deepest appreciation to chanting music director Janet Grant. You need to know that every prelude, every interlude, every postlude was selected and written and performed by Janet. And thank you, choir. All the music we're hearing today and singing on for the rest of the morning has been chosen to produce good feelings, encouragement, and love. Because that's what Chanting Caregiving program is all about. Thank you for the support that you have given the program in the past and that we expect and hope for you to continue in the future. Thank you.